So good morning. I'm Scott Hancock. I'm the Connections Minister at WellSpring. And in case you didn't know, this coming Saturday we have a Colombia Serving Interest Meeting coming up. And ahead of that, we thought that we would maybe answer a few questions, ask a few questions. And so I've invited Erika Robinson, who's a longtime WellSpringer, and she co-leads a ladies' life group here, and Barry Clark, our executive minister. And I'll ask you guys a few questions about this meeting ahead of it. So an important part of Trusting the Promise, this initiative that we've gotten into over the past several months, is a desire to both serve Colombia and also to plant a WellSpring campus in Colombia by the end of 2020. So what's the difference in those two things?
Yeah, a church, I think a church can do a couple things as it looks toward the future. It can kind of meander its way into the future, make a few changes, hope things get better, or it can be intentional and it can be bold. And I think Trusting the Promise is a bold, intentional step to expand our influence here in Spring Hill and Colombia. Part of the reason why we're doing Trusting the Promise is we want to help more people in Spring Hill and more people in Colombia follow Jesus. And so the Trusting the Promise initiative really started with the first phase, which was communicating the vision for what God is doing here and what God will do here, and also stirring people's passions for that. The second phase is what we're entering into now. That's where we're going to be expanding this campus. We're going to be adding on to the facility, but we're also going to begin serving in Colombia. Once the second phase is finished, once the building is done, we're going to begin focusing on the third phase, which is planting a church in Colombia. So serving in Colombia and planting are a little bit different. Serving in Colombia, that can involve a lot of people, hundreds of people. We hope hundreds of people, right? And then planting a church in Colombia might be 75, 100, 125, 150 people. We really don't know. But we're really excited about what God is doing now and what we can do now in order to plant a campus, a WellSpring campus later.
Great. So why is it important for WellSpring to be serving in Colombia before we make efforts to plant a campus there?
Yeah, I think that as soon as WellSpring committed to going into Colombia, what we really committed to do is to proclaim the good news of Jesus Christ in Colombia. And so in order to do that, like I could go down there and do that on a street corner, and they might look at me like I'm crazy. Or I could go down there and love on people and serve people and meet people where they are and proclaim Jesus. And they're going to see a sincere, authentic love. And that's why I think it's really important to go down there and serve first.
Yeah, and you think we're already involved in Colombia in a lot of ways. We have a number of people who drive to Spring Hill from Colombia who already have a personal impact there. We also help hundreds of families with thousands of meals a year, the Jetpack program. If people remember, before the school year started, we went to A. Cox Middle School and prayed for the school and the people who were there because we want to go ahead and have an impact. So we just want to create a bigger impact. So when we do plant that church, people know who we are. And they're not just saying, hey, this is just a church that wants to plant a church. No, it's because we care about the people in Colombia and we want to have a big impact there.
So Erika, tell us, why are you personally passionate about serving Colombia?
I'm passionate about Jesus, and the more I get to know him and the more I love him, the more I feel compelled to love people like he loves them. And so Colombia is just another piece of that. I've lived in Spring Hill for 15 years now, and I've been a part of the Colombia community in a lot of different ways, and there's a lot of need there. I mean, there's a lot of need here too, but I'm just passionate about finding the needs in Colombia and loving on people.
You can kind of see why we kind of tapped Erika on the shoulder and said, can you help us? Just because it's not for her just about being in a position where people come to her. It's about serving. It's about helping. It's about making a difference. And so Erika has a huge heart for the Lord. She has a huge heart for serving. And so the idea is, will you help us bring people together so that we can be intentional as a body as we move into Colombia? And so Erika doesn't want to be the only leader of this. She doesn't want to be the only one doing it. She just wants to help facilitate it. And so that's why we tapped her on the shoulder. And we hope more people come alongside her and us as we begin this next part of the journey.
And that's really what this meeting on Saturday is about, right? So it's going to be at 9 a.m. in the Activity Center here of the main building. So tell us what that meeting is going to be about. Who should come and why should they come?
Yeah, so it's next Saturday at 9 a.m. here. And as we are speaking, maybe you hear a little voice in your head or a little tugging in your heart that this might be something that you would be interested in doing. So if that's happened, definitely please come. We are going to have a large group of people who just want to know what the opportunities are going to be and when those are going to be so that they can show up and really get to work serving. And then there'll be people probably who want to help us lead those teams and help us get the vision created for how we're going to be serving Colombia. So if you are either one of those people, please come. The most important thing that we are going to be doing next Saturday is just praying over all of that. Just asking the Lord to lead us in where he wants us to go, because the needs are great. And so we want to make sure we are where he is asking us to be.
And even if somebody doesn't come next week, they can still be involved later on.
Absolutely. You can always send me an email, or Scott or Barry, and we will get you connected on when the next meetings are going to be.
Yeah, and if you have any questions about this, if we're around, if we're in the back, in the lobby after the service is over, yeah, come up and ask us how you can be involved, or if you just have some questions, we'll be glad to answer them.
Well, thanks to you both for sharing with us a little bit more about it. And for all of you, I would encourage you, if this is something that is of interest, or you think God may be calling you to be a part of serving Colombia in some form or fashion, by all means, be here this coming Saturday at 9 a.m., and it'll be a great meeting.